Welcome to the Habitat Day 2012. My name is Synne Bergby. I'm the chairperson of Habitat Norway. Habitat Norway is a non-governmental organization established in 1988 with the overall aim to promote the interest and awareness of settlement issues in the global south. The United Nations has designated every first Monday in October as the World Habitat Day. They state that the idea is to reflect on the state of our towns and cities and the basic right of all to adequate shelter. It is also intended to remind the world of its collective responsibility for the future of the human habitat. Each year, on the occasion of the World Habitat Day, Habitat Norway arranges a conference here in Oslo addressing issues related to growing cities, urban poverty, informality, sustainability and safety. In order to give proper and timely response to challenges facing urban settlements, we believe response must be funded in interdisciplinary understanding and knowledge sharing. To the Habitat conferences, we therefore invite speakers from various professional fields to discuss contemporary urban challenges, as well as inviting an audience from a broad spectrum of organizations, representatives from governmental institutions, students and academics to learn about the complexity in challenges facing cities today. This year's Habitat Conference is given the title, The Urban Battlegrounds, Effects of Conflicts and Warfare in Cities. Over the last decades, news stories have been imprinted with images from battles, attacks and war zones in urban centers and in the middle of dense living areas. And present on a daily basis, we see the same kind of images from Syrian cities. Cities have increasingly been the starting block for revolutions, the perfect target for terrorists and the battleground in armed conflicts. Today we have put together a program we hope can shed light on the different dynamics underlying this increasing trend of urbanization of battlegrounds. Further, we will discuss how urban conflicts affect civilians, their sense of security and freedom of movement, livelihoods, societal changes, and also in a long-term perspective. We have invited speakers that will address the topic from different professional fields and backgrounds, as well introduce us to relevant examples from different countries such as Syria, Tunisia, Lebanon, and Iraq. I hope the conference will give valuable insight to the thematic and that we will have some good discussions during the day. I will also take this opportunity to thank our collaborating partners, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Norwegian Agency for Development Cooperation, the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, and UN Habitat. Also, I would like to thank our collaborators on the evening event today, which is the Films from the South Festival and the United Nations Association of Norway.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues. This year's theme, the urban battleground, effects of conflicts and warfare in cities, is of great importance and actuality. Just look at what is going on in the cities of Aleppo, Homs, and Damascus in Syria. With more than 2.5 million people directly affected by war atrocities, and more than 250,000 individuals taking refuge, mostly in urban parts of Iraq, Turkey, Jordan, and Lebanon. It is a new trend, I think, that cities, now predominantly in such contexts, are becoming refugee camps, implying a new set of challenge for the international development community that we really haven't faced before. Statistics on ongoing conflicts, however, show that efforts to build peace have had an impact. Despite a small increase in 2011, the number of armed conflicts are strongly reduced since the UN was founded and since the end of the Cold War. Armed conflicts between states hardly exists anymore. Also, the number of internal conflicts in states has been reduced, although many are, and too many, are still ongoing. In fact, if you look at Norwegian development assistance, conflict areas are presently the biggest recipient of Norwegian assistance. But the new trend is that 70% of today's conflicts and wars, they are waged in urban and peri-urban areas, directly involving the civil population, both as active participants as well as passive victims. In fact, I think it's correct to say that complex conflicts are, because of the new urban dimension, they are getting more complex. And the situation is quite dramatic. Slum populations, according to UN Habitat, are currently growing by a staggering 25 million people per year. And urban and peri-urban poverty is becoming the new face of inequality, with new slums not even on the map. And this is, according to Mike Davis, the author of the thought-provoking book, Planet of Slums, guaranteed, this uses the word guaranteed, to shape a future of endless wars in the streets. We will come back to that. So it didn't come as a big surprise that the US-based Journal of the Army War College in 1993, after the Mogadishu debacle the same year, when slum militias, in fact, inflicted 60% casualties on elite army rangers, declared that, like Mike Davis, the future of warfare lies in the streets, in the sewers, in high-rise buildings, in the sprawl of houses that form the broken cities of the world. According to Mike Davis, Mogadishu has just been a prologue to the real drama to come. He points to the fact that Pentagon, and we might get some verification on that later on today, that Pentagon is reshaping their doctrine to support a low-intensity world war of unlimited duration against criminalized segments of the urban poor. This will, again, according to Davis, be the true clash of civilizations. Against this background, I think we as development agencies also have to rethink our roles. How can we contribute to avoiding an urban Armageddon? How can we contribute to avoid low-intensity urban world wars, as predicted by Mike Davis? How can we add human development perspectives to a military analysis that seems weak on social assessments? And that, in fact, might be outright wrong with regard to the willingness of poor slum dwellers to revolt. Isn't the historic experience with slum populations, and this we should discuss later on today, that people in the slums, they are really trying to stay safe, and they feel that they might have too much to lose. It is a memento that Slum Dwellers International, the leading international movement for slum inhabitants working in more than 35 countries, they advocate dialogue and partnership with local, national and international authorities instead of revolt. I think as the developmentalists, we in particular need to look for change agents in this slum geography of misery. As pointed out in a very recent Norwegian paper on UN policies, launched, I think, in this room 10 days ago, half the global population today is under the age of 24. Population projection suggests that during the coming 30 years, 60% of urban residents will be under the age of 18. 60% again of urban residents will be under the age of 18. So I think it's obvious that youth will be an important factor in deciding the course of urban development. So, given the present situation of urban poverty, it's not very surprisingly that poor youth on the outskirts, for instance, of Istanbul, Cairo, Casablanca, or Paris, they embrace jihadism. Or that millions of others turn to the urban subsistence economies operated by street gangs, narco-traffickers, militias, and sectarian political organizations. So I think one of the questions we have to ask ourselves as developmentalists is, looking at the urban challenges, when shall we start looking upon and investing in youth as active and productive members of society? Investing heavily in their education, in health, and in employment. Every experience, in fact, shows that the more youth are allowed to contribute, the more they give back for the overall good of society. Youth involvement, in my opinion, is the best recipe against revolt, also in the world slums. Youth in urban slums are not interested in worsening their situation. They desperately look for opportunities. They want to stay safe. They want to contribute to regularity and structure in their societies. And this makes slums more accessible and demystifies the threat perceived by Pentagon and Mike Davis. Young girls are particularly hard hit when civil populations are exposed to systematic attacks. But I think it's important to be aware that they are not only victims, they are also potential agents for social change and prevention of conflicts. Densely populated slum areas give women a particular opportunity to contribute to social cohesion and capital. So, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs Habitat Day stuntman, I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you.